Kawhi's left foot, opponent 3-point shooting, and a Pacers preview. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Mosland. 141 straight days of shows for you guys.
We're going streaky! Yes!
We're on a streak. We are on a streak here. Appreciate y'all. If you want to find me on X, I'm at Follow Adam A. Also, this is the YouTube channel at Clippers Talk on TikTok, and then on the gram at Clippers Talk, follow Adam A. Those are all the places where you can find me. Mio is first in here. I don't know how he does it. Like, he is got all the alarms set for when we go live here. Just got done running 5 miles. Got to recover with some Diet Coke. That's the official drink of triathletes everywhere. No, I'm neither that, and Diet Coke certainly wouldn't be normally the drink of choice, but we're going with it. Need the caffeine. J8C is in here. Alex Webb said, let's get a big dub tomorrow. 3 dozens being negative. Death, taxes, and a Kawhi injury scare. Yeah, the injury report just came out. Kawhi is questionable for tomorrow's game with left foot soreness. Not knee, left foot soreness. Norman Powell is questionable with left knee soreness. Ben Simmons, expected to play, wasn't on the report, which means he's unlikely to go against Detroit since he's not playing back-to-backs. Welcome in, guys. Let everybody get in here. I think I've isolated the play where Kawhi hurt his left foot. I'm going to show it to you guys. I don't know. It's just conjecture. It's just an educated guess because I remember the play and when it happened in the third quarter yesterday. So I'm going to pull it up. We're going to do that. We'll talk about it for a second, and then we will get to a couple other topics at hand, including this Pacers preview, which I think is going to be a very interesting game. Now, if Kawhi Leonard's not available, that's very problematic. The Indiana Pacers are 15-5 their last 20 games, and one of their victories was a 22-point comeback against the Clippers. There's a few other topics at hand that Law brought up yesterday and a follow-up to the Ivica Zubac conversation we had yesterday here on Clippers Talk I want to bring you. I highly recommend checking out the show yesterday where I went through the tape of the alleged freeze-out of Ivica Zubac in that fourth quarter. Carlo Jimenez joined. If you didn't listen to the show yesterday, we went through the film. I went through it of most of the possessions in the fourth quarter with Ivica Zubac to really get to the bottom of what was happening there with him not getting the basketball, with him not getting a shot up in the fourth quarter. So make sure to check that out too. I'm not trying to panic anyone. I'm not trying to sound any alarms, but we do need to talk about Kawhi being questionable with a left foot injury. I'd say it's encouraging that he's not just out with a left foot injury. He is questionable. So a lot of people are bringing up how I'd rather have it be a foot than a knee. Initially, when this play happened and I'm going to show you, I was concerned that it was his left knee. I don't know. He overcompensated. The right knee, the right leg has been the issue for years. And now it's going to his left leg. Well, he's questionable with a left foot injury. It's left foot soreness. So I'm going to share with you the video of this play. It's some tremendous defense from the Clippers and Kawhi and Chris Dunn specifically, who just owned that third quarter, which makes it all that much more upsetting that they somehow lost the fourth quarter and the game 116-110 a couple days ago now against Milwaukee, in Milwaukee. Here's the play where I believe the injury occurred that has Kawhi questionable for tomorrow. This is the 4:42 mark of the third quarter. Clippers are up 74-69. They're making a push. They're going to get up by 9 heading into the fourth. Kawhi and Chris Dunn, just excellent defense there, taking the ball away from Dame Dollar. Kawhi right to left in the open floor, left-handed scoop layup, comes down awkwardly, Ow, it looks like he says. Kawhi grimacing. If you follow me on Twitter, as I do the play-by-play thread, I said then, uh-oh, Kawhi looks a little bit hobbled. I'm guessing this is when the left foot injury occurred. Now, he did continue to play the rest of the game. He's only questionable. He's not out. So I'm hoping it's nothing serious. I was actually really encouraged by him looking that aggressive in the open floor because that has been an issue. I think since he came back, he's looked tentative at times. I'll play it for you once more here. As the deflections and the steals, the Clippers generating 9. I had 9. Another box score said they had 10 turnovers they generated on the Milwaukee Bucks in the third quarter, but they were spectacular. You see Kawhi there. Some discomfort. You can read it on his face. This is my guess for when the injury occurred. We don't know, but that was at least the most likely play where it happened on. I don't remember any other one where Kawhi came up looking like he was in a little bit of pain and discomfort. So, what does it mean for tomorrow's game? Well, we're going to preview the whole thing coming up in just a little bit, but if Kawhi can't go, does Amir start again? If he and Norman Powell can't go, I think they would play James Harden, Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, DJ, and Zoo. That's interesting. Maybe they would start Bogey. I don't know what they'd go with for more offense there. It could be a Bogey start if both Kawhi and Norman Powell can't go. The hope is nothing serious with Kawhi. The good news is, I guess, from what a lot of people are saying is, well, at least it's not his left knee. It's his left foot. And he did play through it. He did play the rest of that game. Clippers, I think, went minus 11 in that fourth quarter when he was off the floor. And Law Murray put together a really good article yesterday. Make sure to subscribe to The Athletic because Law is that talented. And yes, they were outscored by 11 points in the 331. Kawhi Leonard was off the floor in the fourth quarter in that loss to Milwaukee. And really, it was 14 points, given Bogdan Bogdanovic hit a meaningless three-pointer to end the game. It was a great shot still. It was over Brook Lopez. But yeah, they were bad without Kawhi there. It's weird. I saw somebody in the comment section of the article by Law, and I'm going to read this for you because this is not the only person that has pointed this out or that believes this for whatever reason. And the article is called Kawhi Leonard's Viability and 4 More Clippers Concerns Going Forward. Make sure to read this from Law Murray as I'll go to a couple of the highlights from the article without giving away too much of it. But somebody said, personally, when it comes to flow of the game, in my opinion, this team looked much better without Kawhi. Eric P. said that in the comment section. And again, they were outscored by 14 points in the 331. He was off the floor in the fourth quarter. And for anyone that thinks that Kawhi is the issue somehow, with the Clippers, I think maybe being 7-7 their last 14 games or whatever it is, the Clippers have an offensive rating of 117.8 with Kawhi and an offensive rating of 109.9 with him off the floor. It is unbelievable that some people's eye tests they think are all that important when you have actual data like this. On defense, They have a rating of 105.5 with him on the court and a rating of 108.8 with him off the floor. They are 11.3 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor. That is an elite number. You're not better in any way, shape, or form with Kawhi off the floor. So anybody that chooses to believe that, I have no idea what they are watching. But we get them in here sometimes. All right. Something else that was brought up, and this is a follow-up to the show I did yesterday, going through the tape in that fourth quarter with Ivica Zubac. Check it out. That fourth quarter, with him not getting a shot attempt in Milwaukee, according to La Murray, and I believe him, I'm just giving him credit, that was the third straight game where Zubac had not attempted a field goal in the fourth quarter. And it was the fifth time in the last 6 games where he didn't get a shot up in the fourth quarter. If I had known that yesterday, I would have been even more harsh. If I had known that the night of the game, I would have lost my mind. I really would have been in a bad place.
Please help me. Please help me.
AI Adam would have been in a bad place.
I'm so lonely. Please help me.
I felt lonely at times over the years, talking about how much Ivica Zubac can help this team and how they don't go to him enough and how they forget about him quarter to quarter, possession to possession sometimes. In 5 of the last 6 games, Ivica Zubac has not got a shot attempt in the fourth quarter. That is unbelievable. That cannot happen. That is some type of malpractice. That is completely mismanaging one of the best players on your team and underutilizing him to a point that is just criminal. It can't happen. Now, I guess you could say, what are they over the last 6 games? 3-3? Because they had a 3-game losing streak, then a 3-game winning streak. It's just, that's not a recipe for success. It's not. I don't care that Kawhi is back. Ivica Zubac has to be used out there. You have to go to him. Some people are saying Kawhi did practice today. Let me check with Law Murray here. Again, he's questionable. He played through it. I'm not overly concerned about the injury. I just went through some of the tape and, where that injury could have occurred. Checking Law Murray at Law Murray, the NU here. Trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything with updates on him. Let me see something here. So we actually do. How can I play this? Law Murray did speak to Coach Lou and Bogdan Bogdanovic prior to the Clippers practice in Chicago. Are they still there? So Norman Powell dressed, but will be held out of practice. He said that 6 hours ago. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of working through this at the same time. Let's see. I think there's a way I can play this, and we can all hear it together. Let's see if this is new S that has come to light from today or not. When exactly Law Murray spoke with Coach Lou. I guess either way, we can figure this out. All right. I'm going to unplug here for a second, and we'll listen to this audio from Coach Lou together, unless It's somewhere on YouTube, and that would make things a little bit easier for me. Checking Hoop Jab, Hoop Chef. Those are the guys I always go to. They seem to most consistently post Clippers audio, pregame, postgame, all that stuff. Don't see it there. All right. I'm going to play this.
What do you want to do today?
Work on our offense. With being in Bogey, just getting them comfortable and getting our guys comfortable with how they play and what we need to do. But just showing film today. Just look at our spacing. Got to get better. Our pace on missed shots got to get better. We're pretty good when we turn teams over, but we get the rebound. We don't really do a good job of pushing. And just offensively, just trying to stay out of random basketball. Just trying to really, get in sets, call sets, things like that.
What do you want to do today?
Okay. So they're putting in some work there. Let me get back to La Murray. He posted a few different audio sound bites from Coach Lou. That was just one of them. Talking about spacing, going through film sessions, what they can improve upon. I'm guessing you guys were able to hear that too. Let me play this next one. So this is exclusive audio coming from La Murray of The Athletic.
How do you define spacing? Like, when I think of spacing, like, because this is something that we're talking about a lot more over the last 5-10 years of basketball. It's like, I just think of, okay, floor balance, enough shooting so that there is space to operate. But is there more that goes into it?
Yeah, it is. I think, when you bring the ball up in transition, for one, guards, they got to get to the corners. You can't stop short, can't stop on the wings, because now if I'm bringing the ball up the floor, there's no space to get to what I'm trying to get to. Making sure our bigs opposite of the basketball, so you always have driving lanes and gaps. And then also just spacing on post-ups, like we post Zoo, post Kawhi, where we're supposed to be, so guys can be in the right spots.
Okay. A lesson in spacing there from La Murray and Coach Lou. Here's another soundbite we got for you.
Now, this is you don't often get 2 days off like this and on the road, and definitely don't always go to a city to practice and then go out somewhere else. Like, we got Indiana tomorrow, Detroit Monday. Like, what were your goals of organizing this, and like, what are you trying to do outside of basketball with the team?
Yeah, just get us together. I think, like I said, showing film. Just understand, things we can get better at, clean up. Like I said, we got some new guys and some guys that play different. And so now we got to be able to adjust our game to be able to play different as well.
Now,
And I think one more here. Oh, we got some stuff from Bogey we'll get to here in a second. Here's more from Coach Lou. This was earlier today with La Murray.
Team as the head coach, obviously you've been with the franchise a little longer than that. Like, what are ways that you keep yourself refreshed, keep your joy going?
I think for me it's just our coaching staff. Like, we got a great coaching staff. Like I said, play with B. Shaw, Cookie I grew up with. Played for JBG when I was in Houston. Played for LD. Growing up all these years. Dante played for me. Been a good friend of mine for a long time, Jeremy. And so just having a good coaching staff, so like when things are not going well, things you need to talk about, you always got guys you can trust and can talk to, and go to dinners and do things with. So it's been good.
And is everybody ready to? Do you anticipate everybody being able to go today?
Practice-wise,
yeah.
Norm's gonna be out of practice. You're seeing right now trying to do, but he's gonna be out, and so we'll just kind of see.
So he didn't mention Kawhi being out at practice there. Now, I just texted Law, so I'll get the intel here in a second if Kawhi practiced or not.
with him being questionable tomorrow with a left foot injury. It's left foot soreness. Here was Law with Bogey. We got a couple clips here with one of your newest Clippers, Bogdan Bogdanović.
And this is your third NBA team. I know you played on a ton of basketball teams. What has stood out to you about joining this team compared to joining the Kings and joining the Hawks?
I mean, this is for sure the most mature, most talented team roster I've been on. So that's the biggest difference for sure. Because a lot of teams, when I came, they were trying to rebuild and make and try, you know. So here, like all the players and everybody, starting with James and White, you know, their leadership. That's kind of the biggest difference, you know, and adding Ben, me, and the rest of the players that they had here, all veterans and kind of experienced, and so probably the best roster I've been on.
It is the best roster he's been on. I don't want to speak for him, but I know the teams that Bogey has been on. This is the most talented team, I think, by far. More from Bogdan Bogdanović with
even before y'all played, there was talk. I think T.W. brought up chemistry that y'all had. How does that even happen? Like two guys who are playing for a team that they weren't in training camp with. You know, like how do you and Ben like have that synergy already?
We are basketball players at the end of the day, so we just play. We just have fun and play together. And it's tough when you join a new team. You know, it's definitely tough because you have to learn plays, you have to learn tendencies of the guys and that. But we are both new, so that's kind of making the job a little bit easier.
All right,
let's watch now 2 games.
Talking about that. And I have an answer for you from La Murray on Kawhi in just a second.
Anything else that you want to say that you are targeting to take a step on in this practice and this back-to-back coming up?
Yeah, just keep working and get better. Like, get better, get more reps together, and I think like just being together and spending more time together, we're going to learn about this stuff what we like to do on the floor. So
still building up that chemistry. There was Bogdan Bogdanović with Law Murray, and I was just texting with Law. Let me see here. I'll stop sharing the page. Make sure my audio is coming through now here on this, I don't know, $10,000 microphone, my man. Make sure you guys can hear me again. So, just talked to La Murray. Was just texting with him as you just heard him speaking with Coach Lou and Bogey there at a practice they just had in Chicago earlier today. Kawhi Leonard did participate in practice. Let's go! It can't be that serious, guys. He participated in practice. He's questionable. I played the play for you where I believe the injury occurred. It's not them faking something, as some people are trying to allude to. Clippers building up an excuse so he can't play in one of the games. I mean, he's not playing in any back-to-backs. I don't think the NBA needs to be convinced after the last 4 seasons of him not being able to finish a year that he has injury issues. But it sounds like it's not serious. He participated in practice today. He was always going to miss one of the next 2 games. We'll see. He's questionable for tomorrow's game. And maybe that just comes down to how he feels now having practice today. If he wakes up, the foot's feeling good, then he'll probably be playing against Indiana. That's my guess. So there you go. Thanks to La Murray. At La Murray, the NU is where you follow him. Make sure to subscribe to The Athletic for good intel and information like this. Here's something disturbing that came from La Murray's recent article. I don't know about this one, Chief. I did not know this. This is concerning. The Clippers have trailed by double digits in every game they've played in February. And they have lost 7 games this season after leading by more than 10 points, matching their total for blown losses from last season. That's not good. That's not a good trend. As we were trying to sort through the worst losses of the season after I think the Bucks game made its case for being pretty high up there in that category, where the Clippers were up by 13 early in the fourth, up by 12 with 8.5 minutes left in the fourth. There is a little bit of a trend going on. First of all, they have trailed by double digits in every game they played in February, including being down by 13 to Milwaukee earlier in that game. Secondly, they've lost 7 games this season after leading by more than 10 points, matching their total for blown losses from last year. And it started game 1. I don't know what the total point number they were up by against Phoenix in game 1, the first game played at Intuit Dome. I don't know if it was 10 plus, but I know they're up by 9 with like 3.5 minutes left, and they let that game go. And then I think of the second game at Intuit Dome a week later on Halloween, where they were up by 21 against Phoenix. They lost that game. They lost up by 22 to the Pacers, just like a couple weeks ago. They'll be in Indiana tomorrow. They lost, obviously, a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter to Milwaukee just 2 days ago. There are some issues going on. There are some disturbing trends. It is something to watch. The fact that they already have matched the amount of games this season lost when they were up by more than 10 points with last season's total, and there's still 27 games left in this season. They've blown some games. They absolutely have. Got to address that. Got to have more killer instinct. Got to address that. One more thing from La Murray's article. The Clippers, after losing that game to Milwaukee, have lost 5 straight games that Norman Powell has missed. Their last win without him came November 27th at the Wizards in D.C., where Harden had to drop 43 points in 3 quarters. That's not good. If Norm can't go, and he was held out of practice, he's got the left knee soreness. After having all these days off for the All-Star break, now he was there All-Star weekend. He participated in the 3-point contest, but not good. They've lost 5 straight games that Norman Powell has not been available for. Last win was November 27th against the Wizards. My guess, Kawhi plays tomorrow. Maybe Norman Powell doesn't. I don't know. He didn't participate in practice. I'd say there's a better chance Kawhi plays. Ben Simmons is playing, so he'll be out for the Detroit game. This is a guy who's had back surgery. He's not playing back-to-backs anymore. It's going to be an interesting couple days for the Clippers. They got to show something. More on the Pacers game coming up. Speaking of disturbing trends going on right now.
Not too bad, I hope.
This is bad.
Not too bad, I hope.
I wish it was not too bad. This is bad.
Not too bad, I hope.
If you follow me at Follow Out of May, I was talking about this last night because I can't shake this number of three-pointers that are being hit right now by the opposition. Carlo and I talked about it on yesterday's show. Do not miss that. Ivica Zubac's film breakdown. And your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. So, teams are shooting 40.3% from three against the Clippers the last 11 games. Teams are shooting their highest three-point percentage against the Clippers over the last 11 games, 40.3%. They aren't really getting more open or wide open threes during this time, but they are getting one more corner three per game while shooting 8% higher on corner threes. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. They're doing most of their damage in first quarters. Teams are shooting a league best by far 49.6% from three in first quarters. Also, they're shooting 38.9% in fourth quarters over the last 11 games. So, you're starting slow, you're not finishing strong. How much of this is fluky shooting is the question, and how much of it is a really bad stretch of defense by the Clippers? Now, if you just go over the last 4 games in first quarters, remember, last 11 games in first quarters, teams are shooting 49.6% from three against the Clippers. I think the next worst number is like 46%. So it's by far the worst number in the league of what's happening to the Clippers in first quarters from three. The opposition is just lights out. But if you go, instead of going 11 games back, just the last 4. The last 4 games in first quarters, teams are shooting 58.5% from three on the Clippers. And they're hitting at least 5 3-pointers on average. Last 4 games in first quarters. They're shooting damn near 60% from three in first quarters against the Clippers over the last 4 games. They're also getting almost 2 more open 3-pointers in first quarters the last 4 games. Open 3-pointers are a defender isn't within 4 to 6 feet of the shooter. Wide open would be a defender is 6+ feet away. They're not getting more of those, but they are getting more open 3-pointers in first quarters. Almost 2 more, 1.7 more in first quarters last 4 games, which could account for why they're shooting almost 60% to start games off in first quarters last 4 games. Ivica Zubac did comment about this postgame after their loss to the Bucks. The team is aware that the opposition is starting very hot against the Clippers in first quarters. They knew that leading into the Bucks game. And the Bucks still hit 7 3-pointers, I want to say, in the first quarter alone. What type of threes, though, are they hitting? It's not above the break threes. That's not what's killing them. I mentioned corner threes earlier. Okay. Right corner or left corner. So teams are taking 1 more corner 3 per game over the last 11 games on the Clippers. It's not very significant. They're getting up 1 more corner 3. Teams typically are always going to shoot a higher percentage on the short corner threes. Here's what's crazy. The right corner threes, not really a problem. Teams are shooting about what they have on the season there against the Clippers, the last 11 games. The left corner threes over the last 11 games, Teams went from shooting 37.1% on left corner threes on the season to the last 11 games, shooting 51.9% on left corner threes on the Clippers. Almost 15% better the last 11 games opponents have been on left corner threes against the Clippers. They're taking the same amount, but they're knocking them down almost 15% better. It's 14.8 technically is the increase in percentage of left corner threes hit on the Clippers the last 11 games. That's outrageous. But unless they're just, and I looked for if I could find just how many of those were open versus not open. I couldn't find that. I think it's fluky shooting, guys. I don't think it's sustainable. They're only taking about 5 of them per game in that left corner. The same amount they've been taking against the Clippers all season long. But the last 11 games, for whatever reason, teams have been lights out, shooting 15% better on left corner threes. I think that is isolating the issue of the three-point shooting going way up against the Clippers, where total threes above the break, any type of three, teams are shooting 40.3% from three against the Clippers the last 11 games. Best in the league. On the season, opponents are still shooting 35% from three against the Clippers. That's 7th best in the league. It's dropped. It was 34%, or it's gone up, you could say. Teams were only shooting 34% against the Clippers before the last 11 games from three. They've dropped from like top 3 in that area to now 7th just because of the last 11 games. Are they doing something drastically different defensively? I don't think so. I've been watching. The eye test doesn't tell me that. I think this is fluky shooting going against the Clippers. But watch those left corners, guys. If I was on the road with the team, I would bring up this number to Coach Lou and ask him if there's anything going on there. I would, because I've been trying to pinpoint the issue with the three-point shooting being way up. And it looks to me like it's one spot on the floor. Left corner threes. Teams are 15% better there the last 11 games. And that has the inflated three-point shooting going against the Clippers right now. But specifically first quarters, it could be that first quarter shooting the last 4 games where they're hitting almost 60% from three. It could be some bad habits going on where the Clippers just aren't starting with the right level of focus. Again, they're giving up about 2 more open threes in first quarters the last 4 games. So what we've learned is the three-point shooting from opponents that has been red hot is mostly happening in first quarters and mostly happening in the left corner. I think it's just some weird law of averages stuff going on. I don't think it's indicative of some flaw with the Clippers and philosophy that they're not adhering to or principle or not closing out on those guys. It's just, it's a bad streak of luck going against them. Or string of luck. All right, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. So, Clippers tipping off in Indiana tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be back here at 1 for your pregame show. The Pacers, who the Clippers just saw a couple weeks ago, back it into a dome that came back on the Clippers, who led by 22. And remember what Law Murray said, the Clippers have already lost 7 games this season after leading by more than 10 points, matching their total for blown losses from last season. And there's 27 games left. They are giving some games away. That's concerning. And the worst of those, this might be the worst loss of the season, honestly. You're up 22 on Indiana as the Clippers were red hot to start that game from 3. And you let go of that game mostly because of self-inflicted wounds, the turnovers that the Clippers had. 6 straight at one point. Remember that Pacers game? 119-112 was the final. That might be the worst loss of the season, depending on how you look at the last loss to the Lakers, where they got beat by 25 and just weren't very competitive. But if you're talking about games you should have won, up by 22, and then just handing the basketball over like that to get the Pacers back into it, that was a pretty miserable loss. So they owe them one in tomorrow's game. The Pacers are 9th in offensive rating on the season. The Clippers are 20th. But the Pacers are 20th in defensive rating, where the Clippers are 2nd. So they're a better offense overall. Clippers, much better defense overall. What about the last 10 games? Pacers are 7-3 over that time. Well, they're still 9th offensively, right where they are on the season, but they're 16th defensively. They're 3 spots better there the last 10 games where they're 7-3. The Clippers, the last 10 games, are 12th in offense. So they jumped up about 8 spots. But they've gone backwards 11 spots defensively, where they're 13th over their last 10 games. Why would that be? It's mostly because of the hot three-point shooting I already outlined here. On the season, though, teams are still just shooting 35% against them from 3. Last 11 games, just over 40%. The Pacers, they're middle of the pack when it comes to opponent three-point shooting. They're giving up 36% on threes on the season. Indiana is right in front of the Clippers in three-point percentage this year. They're 11th at 36.8% from 3. The Clippers are 12th at 36.1% from 3. But the last 10, the Clippers have been better with Kawhi back, better spacing. We heard from Coach Lou on spacing, talking with Law about that at practice earlier today. So last 10 games from 3, the Clippers have been better than the Pacers. They're at 37.6% from 3, while the Pacers are at 35.7%. So the Clippers are almost 2% better from 3 the last 10 games. Here's the problem. The Pacers just had a game where they hit 17 threes against Memphis. That was their first game back from the All-Star break. Just like the Bucks just hit 17 threes against the Clippers on Thursday night. They did that against Memphis, the Pacers. They got the big victory. In their first meeting 2 weeks ago, when the Clippers blew that 22-point lead, the Pacers were only 13 of 39 from 3, 33% against the Clippers. Indiana, though, they're 6th in 2-point percentage this year at 56.4%, because they're 3rd in the league in field goal percentage within 5 feet of the rim. They're good in the restricted area. They're shooting 68.1% there. Clippers, middle of the pack. They're at 63.4% there. And they only shoot 54% from 2 on the season. Indiana, 56.4% from 2. Indiana is also really good in the float goat range from 5 to 9 feet out. 5th best in the league at 47.2%. Clippers are 4% worse there from 5 to 9 feet out. As you would imagine, the Pacers are good with points in the paint. 6th best in the league because they're good near the basket. 6th best in points in the paint at 51.7 per game. The Clippers are good there, 50.7 per game. So 1 point per game less in the paint than Indiana. And in that first game, Indiana had 54 points in the paint, the Clippers 44. Now, I would say a lot of that is because the Clippers were so damn good from 3 to start the game. The reason they got up by 22 on Indiana, they hit 10 threes in the first quarter. The Clippers. The all-time record is 11 threes made in a quarter. It happened against the Clippers in Boston this year. Of course it did. Clippers paint defense, their paint defense, 3rd best in the NBA, by the way. Indiana's 25th. Clippers paint defense is phenomenal. Credit Big Zoo. Maybe give him the ball on the other end some because he's holding it down as your defensive anchor. I don't know. So the Clippers, they should be able to feast in the paint against Indiana. They're 25th in paint defense. What about rebounding? Even though they only had 44 points the first time against Indiana in the paint, but that was because they were so hot from three. What about rebounding? Indiana struggles there. They are 28th in rebounding percentage. The Clippers are 7th. The Clippers are now number 1 in the league in defensive rebounding. Indiana's 17th there. They're 29th, the Pacers, 29th in offensive rebounding percentage. The Clippers are just 19th there. But Indiana, even though the Clippers are 10 spots better there, they got more boards, offensive boards, against the Clippers in the first meeting, 12-11. Clippers can't let that happen. They're supposed to close out possessions. They are the number 1 defensive rebounding team in the league now. They've been good there all season. Now they're number 1. They've been number 2 for a while. So, as you would expect, if you're that good when it comes to closing out possessions, you shouldn't be giving up many second chance points. The Clippers are pretty good there, but they're not very good at creating them for themselves because they don't get a lot of offensive rebounds. They're 19th in offensive rebounding percentage, so they're 20th in second chance points at 13.5. Indiana, they're dead last in second chance points per game at just 10.6. But they had 20 in that game against the Clippers where they came back down 22. They doubled it with their second chance points there. What else decided that game? I mentioned it earlier. Turnovers, where the Clippers had 6 straight at one point in the second quarter. 6 straight turnovers. I want to say there was a 19-point turnaround within 3 minutes in that second quarter. Indiana got back into it quick as the Clippers were just offering turnovers up on a silver platter. It was frustrating as hell. I'm hoping Ben Simmons can be a big difference maker there. Clippers had another string of like 4 straight or 3 straight later in the game. Turnover after turnover after turnover. They ended up with 19 of them, leading to 32 points for the Pacers. That's how they came back. 19 turnovers leading to 32 points off those turnovers is a huge number. Meanwhile, the Pacers only had 8 turnovers in that game. And they're good at taking care of the basketball. They're top 10. I think top 5. In turnovers per game, they only averaged 13.3, the Pacers. The Clippers, not as good there. They're at 15.9 turnovers per game. But they've been about 2 less per game in the games Kawhi has played in. So that's significant. As for those points off of turnovers, this is where the Clippers are elite. They're averaging 20 points off of turnovers per game, second most in the league. Indiana's solid at 18. And again, they had 32 points off those Clippers' 19 turnovers in the first meeting. What about fast break points? Well, the Pacers are 6th best in pace, or it's not really a best thing. It's more of a style thing, but they're 6th in pace. They play fast. So they're generating 17.4 fast break points per game, 4th best in the league. The Clippers, impressively, are getting 17.1 fast break points per game. That's way up from last year. It's like 3 more points per game in transition. That's big, especially because they're only 19th in pace. So they're very choosy and selective when they get out and run, but they do with those hit-ahead, long outlet passes. Indiana takes care of the ball, as I mentioned. Probably why teams only get 14 fast break points against them per game. Clippers give up 15.5 per game in fast break points to the opposition. Indiana, they've played just one game like the Clippers since the All-Star break. It happened Thursday night. I brought it up earlier. They won against Memphis. It was a big victory because they started slow. The Pacers missed their first 7 shots before having a 50-point second quarter. I think it might have been a franchise record for them. Indiana made 12 of their final 19 threes in the first half. After starting 0 of 7 from the field, they went 12 for their final 19 threes in the first half, leading to that 50-point second quarter. They ended up with a season-high 78 points in the first half, and they won 127-113 over Memphis at home, where no one had more than 22 points for the Pacers in that game. That was Tyrese Halliburton. He had 22, but they had 7 guys in double figures. They shared the sugar, as my friend Noah Eagle would say. So the Pacers, they're 7-3 their last 10 games, with wins over the Grizzlies, Wizards, Clippers, Jazz, Hawks, Pistons, and Spurs. Their losses were to the Knicks, Lakers, and a hot Blazers team. Overall, last 20 games, if you go back further, Indiana is 15-5. They've been playing very good basketball. The Clippers should be well aware of this. They better be ready for this game. They better be ready to bounce back after 2 days off after one of their worst losses of the season. Clippers are just 5-5, their last 10. I'm hoping Kawhi's available. I really am. Siakam also, as my guy BJ Matthews pointed out, was really good against the Clippers in that first game. He had 33 points. He cooked them. They played small, remember, because Miles Turner went out early in that game. You would have thought that'd be a benefit to the Clippers. No, it wasn't, because they were playing small with Siakam at the 5, and he kept beating the Clippers' big men down the floor for easy buckets. That's something that occurred in that game. This is going to be an interesting one. Ben Simmons will be playing. Norm is questionable. Kawhi is questionable, but Kawhi did practice today. And if you didn't know, it's left foot soreness. If you got in late, rewind it. I played the clip for when I think the injury occurred against Milwaukee early on in this episode. This is a game where the Clippers have to take care of the basketball, because that might have been their worst loss of the season. I think it was, honestly. If I'm taking the factor of hating losing to the Lakers anytime out of the equation, if I'm taking that part of it out, I'm just looking objectively at everyone equally, that was a miserable loss to the Pacers. They got to make up for it. They really do. Going to be tough to do if Kawhi's not available. But he practiced. I'm guessing if he wakes up and he's feeling good and the left foot isn't as sore, he'll give it a go. That's my guess. We'll be back here at 1 tomorrow with your pregame show. Before we get out of here, I do want to remind you, as always, Clippers Talk is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or your least favorite player stats, and then you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money, and I got that free promo code for you guys that will give new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link right now in the description down below in this very episode. Then you just go to underdogfantasy.com and you can pick higher or lower. It is really easy. There's a game coming up tonight between the Lakers and Denver Nuggets. You may want to pick higher or lower on certain players for that one. Make picks, win money. Underdog Fantasy, your sponsor here at Clippers Talk. Till tomorrow, starting at 1 with your pregame show. Clippers in Indiana taking on the Pacers. I'm Adam Moslin. We're 141 days straight here on Clippers Talk.
We're going streaky! Yes!
It's a streak. Talk to you guys tomorrow.